Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Factorio Masochists Marathon. So, last episode we were doing a lot of biter pushing, probably the longest single slug of biter slaying I've done in one go for the entire series, to basically push up to a very large copper patch. We were able to uncover, I think it was a 5.6 million units of copper in that patch. We've just come down in from the foul train. But in doing that huge amount of biter pushing, we have used a huge amount of the coal down in coal 1. So I want to just quickly access this patch here, completely cocking up the placing of the rails and the signals, causing those trains to crash into the back of each other. But we tell Fal to sort of go around and come back just to try and sort that out, because we don't really want it blocking the track and blocking any resources coming through. But this patch has been available for a while. All it needs is some miners laying out. So yeah, that's what we come and do next. I think I did mention it last episode. That's because some of the recording of footage did carry over from last episode to this episode, because I'm still getting used to the whole change in editing. So before, I would literally just play for an hour, speed up to 3 times speed, and then just do post commentary. It's a very straightforward process. But due to the settings we've picked, I don't want to do that because some episodes are going to be really boring. So for example, last episode you didn't actually see much of it in the footage, but there was well over an hour's worth of just pure biter slaying. So a lot of that got cut down because it would just be an hour of me doing exactly the same thing. I'd run out of things to talk about, and I literally would just sit here making really pointless, meaningless statements, and it just wouldn't be very entertaining. And I want these videos to retain a certain level of quality and a certain compression of content as well. So I don't want there to be whole episodes of biter pushing. So we get the coal outpost in, just so that I am going to be doing some more biter pushing soon, possibly at the end of this episode. I don't know. We'll see how much footage we get in. But this is another coal outpost. It's not going to last very long. But the coal patch we're literally just passing now, which is very big, is the next thing we're going to be uncovering. Also, the copper and iron north of it for a circuit outpost. So, my lack of refueling for the nuclear train has caused it to run out at a very frustrating position. So that is something I do need to sort out. We've got some chests there, which I've been manually feeding, but I need to sort out some sort of automation. To be honest, I don't really want to bring belts up here feeding it, but I may have to. I could use solid fuel, but I've never really liked using solid fuel apart from launching rockets. So I just keep manually feeding that for now. And that's actually caused the plastic to stop coming through, and it's pretty much halted the laser turret damage 6 research. So we get that all sorted. There's also a biter nest down here. There's absurdly close to the uranium processing, and the only reason I'm getting away with that, of course, is because of those stupid settings that I picked that made the game too easy. I mean, what kind of masochist makes something easier for themselves? Is a bit absurd, really. Anyway, so we've got all that sorted out. Got that cleaned up, which has made me a little bit less paranoid. We come and leave the foul train in the waiting area. I think it's the best place for it until I get logistics robots and I make a foul train station. And I come down and just come and stock up on a few various things so that we can get this copper outpost sorted out. It's a pretty big patch. I kind of wanted to cover the whole thing, so I have quite a few miners on me. We'll see just how much of the patch that's going to cover. But to be honest, even if we don't cover the whole thing, we can go and recycle some miners from copper 2, is it? I can't remember how many outposts we've done now. I believe copper outpost 2 is the existing one with those 3 patches, and this is going to be copper outpost 3. I just come and put some defenses in. I've just noticed I didn't complete the belts properly for the miners there. There was one with an incomplete bit of belt, which I didn't notice actually in the recording. In fact, I don't think I noticed for quite a while. Anyway, we can go and sort that out later. That's just a backup for when coal outpost 1 runs out. I think the coal outposts are going to be falling behind the most, because once we've got a nuclear reactor, the only things we're going to be using coal for is science. And off the top of my head, I can't really remember anything else in vanilla that uses coal. I'm thinking of Bob's, but yeah. Anyway, we start getting the miners laid out, and there's quite a few. I start in the middle, which is kind of the widest bit, apart from this little bit at the top there that sticks up. I kind of wanted to relay the whole thing, but to be honest, that would have taken absolutely ages. And I didn't really have time to keep recording again, because basically this is the first episode I've done during the week of my new job. So this week I've been at my new job. It's been pretty extreme. I've had no time at all to work on videos, really, so I'm glad I did get ahead when I did. At this point, we do have a beer moth spitter or beer moth biter attacking the coal train, I think it was. It eventually manages to push through, killing the biters. But I come down anyway to deal with the nest, just to prevent it happening again, because it's very frustrating. We don't want to lose any trains to the biters. That's not going to be good at all. So I come down and deal with the nest here. And then I leave a load of lasers in to prevent a nest from forming there again. But, you know, due to the new rules for biter bases forming, they could form on the opposite side or right next to it and have the same problem. Anyway, but it'll at least stop them from appearing in that place in particular. So we jump in the file train and I actually head to the uranium depot because I'm pretty confident the uranium train's going to be there. So file will stop in the waiting area and I can stick it in manual mode because I wanted to come and stick some of this wood in to fuel it because there wasn't really much in there anyway. But I also wanted to look at why no plastic is coming through and the throughput of oil just isn't great enough to be filling that train up in time to come up here. I should really be putting a timer on it down there. So at the moment I rename it. I forgot I never actually named it. I also put a timer on it so that it's always coming back with some fuel. But to be honest, the fact that the train's not filling up and coming back in time just means we just haven't got enough pumps. So that's something I am going to sort out in the future. We're going to get this copper outpost done first, though, to avoid my inherent habit of just getting distracted by things and never actually finish anything. So we come and finish laying all the miners. So back to me, working on my new job. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's not really relevant with the game. It's just relevant with my schedule. So it's only been the first week, so I've not really been able to judge exactly how much time I have to make videos, but I think I am going to change my schedule. So usually I put a video out every other day. Sometimes that'll be all the odd numbers, dates, or even. So one week I'll have 3 videos going out, and then the other will be 4, considering the fact that there's an odd number of days in a week. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is go to a set schedule. I don't know what days I'm going to pick yet, but it'll either be 2 or 3 episodes a week on a set day. Most likely going to be Thursday, Saturday, and then like Monday or Tuesday. I don't really know. But we'll just have to see how it goes. And yeah, whatever happens, it'll just become the schedule. So anyway, enough rambling about that. So we've got all the miners laid out, although I've noticed just up there in one of the rows, there's one miner missing. There's going to be 1 square of resources that's going to be missed. But it's all right. I get it in a little bit on my way down. We get one of the really horrible load balancers that I really don't like in there. But to be honest, as long as the 4 belts feeding the train are pretty saturated, I really don't mind. We also move file out the way because it started to fill up with copper, and I just stick it all in the front chest. I really don't care because we're putting in a Madzuri train loader. So that'll take the average number of, take the total number of items, divide it by the number of chests, and then so long as that value is less than 0, the inserter shall insert, and that effectively gives you an average equal number of items or whatever you're putting into the chests across all the inserters, maximizing the throughput of these fast inserters rather than using the absurdly resource expensive stack inserters. And to begin with, I get the arithmetic combinator the wrong way round, and it takes me a little while to realize. But to be honest, that sort of teaches me a lesson, a very valuable lesson about Factorio and lots of other games. If you just copy other people's designs, you don't actually understand what aspects of it, why it works, and you'd never be able to modify it for your own benefit. But if you build something from scratch yourself, you'll understand it so much better. Anyway, I don't know why I'm going on that rant. That's the whole rant about doing things yourself rather than just having blueprints. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling about that. So I come and mess around with the schedule for the copper train. So it'll go to copper outpost 2 twice, and then it'll come here once, just to prioritize using up that outpost first, because you want to get rid of all the copper there. And then we'll be using this one as well, just as a backup, so it would still have constant copper coming through. So a bit of a cut there. Basically, this recording is now on the next day. So with this job, I'm having to do little bits of a video each day. So I'm not actually able to sit and play for a full hour, or I don't get enough footage to finish an episode, or I've just got too much stuff going on. Lately, we've been having a heat wave over here in the UK as well. It's been absolutely boiling. So also trying to deal with that. It's very difficult to sit in this room with my machine running because it does belt out quite a lot of heat. I mean, it's running at 50 degrees at the moment while I'm editing. It is doing quite a bit, but yeah, that's still pretty hot. I'm absolutely boiling. Anyway, so there's going to be a few more cuts here and there as I'm just cutting bits of footage together. We come down and finally sort the radar out there because that got destroyed ages ago. I never came and tidied it up. I also noticed a nest there right next to oil too, so that really needs sorting out. because the next thing we're going to be doing this episode is increasing our rate of how much oil we're actually pulling up out the ground with the derricks, because it's just not a high enough rate anymore. Plus, I want to have a go at putting in a Madzuri style loader of the outpost down here, just to equalize the amount of fluid going into the 4 wagons. I know it doesn't matter massively, because say once 2 of the wagons are full, the other 2 are going to fill up quicker, and effectively it's going to take the same amount of time. But as you can see at our red circuits, there's just not enough plastics coming through to feed the whole thing. So we need a bit more oil coming through. And we're also going to increase our rate of plastic production, because we have actually got enough oil to run these 2 machines, but they can't fully saturate a yellow belt with plastic. So I'm going to put some more chemical plants in doing plastic, but then of course we're going to need more oil, which we will also sort out. So I get making some chemical plants to first do the plastic, and then I also queue up some oil derricks for production as well. This going a hell of a lot faster at 3 times speed, obviously, and then I grab a load of resources as well for stuff I'm going to need very soon. We also get an attack down in the southeast, but it doesn't really matter. It's some of my old normal gun turrets just laying out in various places just to alert me when there's certain biters in the area. So we could just ignore that alarm for now. So I start off by doubling the plastic output. It still doesn't fully saturate a yellow belt, so I go and put in a couple more, which should hopefully do it. And then I divide them to have 3 chemical plants feeding either side of a yellow belt. So we finish getting the inserters in, and I just stare at it a little bit, just putting in an underground belt there just to completely saturate that bit, and it should all work fine. So next on the agenda is to head down to oil outpost 2 and start putting some more derricks in. To be honest, the number of available oil wells in that area is absolutely insane. It may even be enough here for the rest of our game, and there's another patch just off the minimap as well, or just on the minimap. I can't actually see it because it's quite small in the window where I'm actually doing the post commentary. And we get a load more derricks in. To be honest, just I add it all onto this one pipe because it takes quite a few derricks to actually fully saturate a fluid pipe now. So I'm not too fussed about the throughput of this area until we do start putting in speed modules and beacons. But right now we're not going to fully saturate a pipe at this speed, so it really doesn't matter that this is all just squeezing into one little pipe. So we get all those running, and then I decide to head up and have a look at trying to do a Madzuri style fluid loader. To be honest, I've not actually looked at a design for this. I'm just going on based off of what the inserter loaders work. I'm just going to wire up all the tanks on one green wire, then all the pumps on another green wire, stick a arithmetic combinator in, divide it by 4, and then yeah, get them to work in the same function. So if the value is less than 0, then you're below the average and you're allowed to fill your particular container up. I don't know if this is actually going to work. Hopefully someone in the comments will tell me if I've gone wrong or if it's going to work. But yeah, I'm just dividing the total amount of fluid from those 4 separate storage areas, divide that by 4, and then get the pumps to function if their value is less than 0. But it does take past me a few seconds to remember if it was greater or less than. Obviously, I know it's less than now because I'm present me or past me in terms of you, but future me for him. Anyway, I try and look at the copper outpost on the minimap to see if you can look at the logistic values of stuff or the green circuit values, but no, you can't. So I just decide to change it and realize that it works. And then I try and give these 4 separate outputs to the tanks because of a vanilla pump pumps at exactly the capacity of a single pipe. So if you're ever putting more than 1 pump into a pipe or expecting more than 1 pump to ever get more fluid out of 1 pipe, it's never going to happen. So my idea is that they've each got a separate output from the storage tanks, although the input to the storage tanks is from the bottom, so it is going to favor that one at the bottom. But it doesn't really matter because the Madzuri loader should even it all out anyway. And I just connect those red wires up to the poles just to make sure those values are roughly the same. It does have a slight margin for error, and I decide to put a few more pumps in just to try and increase the flow a bit to speed it up so the train's never waiting here too long. But to be honest, I forgot I put a timer on it now, so I may need to go in and increase that timer a little bit. Now we've got more of a throughput of fuel or oil. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But we get these extra derricks in just to try and improve our throughput of oil so we can keep up with the amount of plastic we're using. I also noticed we're getting attacked just south of this area here. It's a little bit too close to the bases. It's causing that inevitable attack loop again. So I come, just push some bases out of the way. Nothing too serious. Nothing likely mad about pushing we were doing last episode. Improve the defenses down here because the pollution is going to increase now. We've got more derricks and we want to make sure none of these get destroyed by any biters. And we sort the input for these pumps down here. And I give them a separate input to the storage area because as we're going to add more and more to this area, we are going to want more of one pipe's throughput, even though at the moment we would not be able to achieve that. I then drive over because we've lost a radar down here. There's a base quite close to the tracks and I want to come and sort it out. There's another base there that's just stuck in. And I drive in thinking, yeah, I'll just get my turrets down when I get to the power poles. And we have our first death of the game. Completely messed that up. Absolutely got trashed, which is very frustrating. So this is just to show how far back it was. It was right when we were doing the Madzuri oil loading or fluid loading. So I do lay it out slightly differently. But yeah, I'm going to cut this bit now and we'll get up to just where we were. I was very frustrated with this, but I am going to leave in everything, like I said at the start of the series, that happens in the recordings, because it would be pretty easy to cut this out. But this is the first death I've had, and it was very frustrating because it wasn't even out while I was biter pushing. It was simply just get rid of a normal base that was in my way. So we got that all laid out. Again, obviously I wasn't going to show you it all again. And we go and do take two. This time I decide to go straight to the base, pick up a load more turrets and try and be a little bit more prepared for this whole thing. We get that same attack again because I was a bit quicker laying everything out. This time I try and obviously be a bit smarter about this, using my long reach like I was before. Ended up getting a load of poles in, probably way too many than I needed, but I wanted to make sure I didn't die a second time. Very embarrassing though, dying to a little base just in the area like this, and not even in a serious case of Red Sea dismantling, I was going to say there. I don't know why. Red Sea pushing, but I put in some power anyway and some lasers to defend the radar because I wasn't going to give in and not put a radar in there. And we need eyes everywhere, or eyes everywhere we can get them. But anyway, we have a quick look at the oil from a distance to make sure it's all running okay. We've got enough plastic coming through, enough green circuits. So it's literally just the rate in which we're producing red circuits now. So that's what I want to get on with next, is just adding another section of red circuit production. To be honest, I probably should have doubled it, but we just add another section for now. But to be honest, with the rate in which this is going to increase the production of processing units, it's going to use more green circuits itself. But the thing using all the red circuits right now is the processing units. So as soon as we start getting more reds going through to the processing, they're going to be using even more green. So I doubt we're going to be able to produce enough green circuits to feed this whole thing. So the next agenda is going to be to push out to that copper and iron patch I keep going on about, that's kind of nicely numbered and nicely placed for me to do a green circuit outpost. Then we'll bring those green circuits into the factory. I'm maybe going to aim to fill 4 yellow belts of green circuits, or 3 yellow belts. I haven't sat down and worked out how many assemblers I need and how much throughput of resource I need to saturate 3 yellow belts, but that's roughly the target I'm going to go for. But then of course I'm going to need a red circuit outpost and a processing units outpost. But that's generally how I'm going to do it. The outposts will start to feed the factory, and then it'll evolve a bit where the outposts start to feed each other, and less will go to the factory until everything's just done all over the place. I don't know. I've never done this before, so we're just going to have to wait and see how it evolves. I don't know if we check in the recording at any point in this episode, but I do remember looking while recording. There is currently 8 uranium-235s produced so far, so I really need to rapidly increase the rate in which we're processing the uranium if I want to get any Kovacs enrichment anytime soon. Obviously, I need to do the research as well, so I will increase that at some point. It's just the amount of resources you need to build those things is pretty absurd. So I want to be more and more comfortable with my resources before I start to push that. But we are doing pretty well for resources now. I've stopped being paranoid about the stalemate. Yeah, it's less likely to happen more and more. But yeah, this is the area we're going to be pushing out to. You can see there's a nice big coal patch and a nice big copper and iron patch for circuits 1. Anyway, we're going to be dismantling these areas in a little montage at the start of next episode, but that's going to be all we have time for this episode. I do hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and please do come and join me in the next episode. Bye bye.